You may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. We'd like to call Gwyneth Paltrow.
Thank you.
Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give in the case now before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Put that there.
Seems like evening, doesn't it?
I've been inside all day. I have no idea.
You and me both. Could you state your name and spell it for the record, please?
Yes, my legal name is Gwyneth Kate Paltrow Falchuk. That's GWYNETH KATEPaltrowFalchuk.
Great, thank you. May I call you Ms. Paltrow?
Sure.
Okay, fantastic. As you've seen the last few days, we always have the witnesses give background information and tell about yourself, etc. I have a feeling that everybody in the courtroom knows who you are, so we're not going to go through all the background. We're just going to kind of cut to the chase. Is that fair?
Sounds fine.
All right, wonderful. Let's just talk about skiing. My understanding is that you are pretty much an intermediate type skier.
I would characterize myself as intermediate.
Okay. You've been skiing since you were a child.
I have.
Okay. Do you do black diamonds, blues, greens? I'm not really a skier, so you've got to kind of help me out with this.
I prefer to do more blues than blacks.
Okay. And blue is intermediate, right? Under black?
Yes.
Okay. And the bandana run where this accident occurred, it was a green run?
Yes.
All right.
Recollection.
Fantastic. So as an intermediate skier, would you say that you skied enough to at least be familiar with the rules of skiing?
I think so, yes.
All right, and what are those rules?
I think, use common sense, ski safely, be aware of other skiers around you.
Okay. What about skiing in control? Is that something that you need to do?
Yes, absolutely.
You have to give the right of way to those who are downhill.
Yes.
Okay. You also have certain responsibilities if you're in a collision. Is that fair?
Yes, which I learned more about post the collision.
I bet. You've probably been hit over the head with all of that information since the time, right?
Indeed.
Okay. So let's talk about those things. Did you know the rules at the time of the collision that if you're in a collision with someone, you need to give your name and information, contact information?
So because I was hit by Mr. Sanderson and he was at fault, I assumed that Eric, who was our ski instructor, who was there at the time, who was overseeing the event, he said, I'm going to leave all of your information, and he said, you should go ski down because my kids were waiting for me.
And I appreciate that, but my question was, did you know of the rule of skiing if you are in a collision that you need to share that information?
Your Honor, this is irrelevant. This is not part of that negligence claim.
Overruled. Overruled. Go ahead.
Can you repeat the question?
Absolutely. At the time of the collision, were you aware of the rule that if you're in a collision, you need to share your name, your contact information with the person that you're involved in a collision with?
I don't think I was aware of the rule.
Okay. Were you aware that there is kind of a rule of common decency to do that?
I would not have left the scene without leaving my information, and my information was left.
Did you provide that information?
No, Eric Christensen, who was the ski instructor with us, said he would leave all the information.
You don't know if he did or did not, though, do you? You weren't there when he did.
Well, subsequently, I know that he did.
I'm not asking that. I'm asking when you were there at the collision, you didn't ensure that it was given. You weren't there when it was given.
I was not there when it was given.
All right. And it's also, I think you even admitted in your deposition that it's the rule of common decency to make sure that everybody's okay, exchange information, and to follow those skiing rules. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about that day after I get a drink.
Okay. I'll have one as well.
Do you have one? Oh, you have some
I
water.
do, thank
Okay,
you.
great. So I just want to kind of set the stage. You're skiing that day. My understanding it was a nice conditions, beautiful day.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry. And Deer Valley, we know that Deer Valley is always immaculately groomed. Good conditions on slopes.
Good conditions.
All right. You were skiing that day with your daughter, Apple, correct?
Yes.
Moses.
Mm-hmm. My son.
And Brad Falchuk, who was your boyfriend at the time, now current husband.
Correct.
All right. And his 2 children.
That's right.
All right. And his kids were the same approximate age as yours on the day of the ski collision.
They all remain the same age
That's a
as each
very,
other.
very good point.
We're like the Brady Bunch. Girls are the same age, boys are the same age.
All right. And back then, it was 12 and 9?
11 and 9.
11 and 9. All right. Fantastic. And the day of the collision, I think you had been to Deer Valley twice prior to
I
that time?
believe so.
Okay. And this was the first day of your ski trip.
I think that's correct.
Okay. And I don't know how many days you were there, but I know, at least from what you've told us, that after that first day, you also skied the next day.
Yes.
Okay. So when Mr. Sanderson was at home, you were skiing.
I don't know.
Okay. Fair enough. So the children, all 4 of them, had lessons during that trip.
That's right.
Okay. Would you agree that those lessons were fairly expensive?
They were.
Okay. Do you remember about how much they were?
I would have to check. Whatever
I'm Goldie. This is my class.
alley rate is what we paid.
Okay. Let me know if this is about right. At least from what I saw in your deposition, the total bill was around $8,980. Does that sound about right for 4?
I think that misstates the evidence. I think that was for both families.
For 4 kids.
I would honestly have to check,
Okay. All right. That's fine.
but it's very expensive.
Very expensive.
Very.
Right. And then tips on top of that.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm assuming, you're under oath here, that you're a good tipper.
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. I wouldn't expect anything less. All right. So let's talk about your daughter, Apple. She was 11.
She was.
Okay. And her instructor was Carrie Oakes.
That's correct.
All right. And Apple at the time was a good beginner.
Yes.
Okay. And your son, Moses, he was 9 at the time.
Yes.
And he was more so of a real... He objected. How did you answer that question?
Let's read the objection, Your Honor, if we're going to do this.
The objection was vague as to time.
Do you want me to rule on the objection? I mean,
If we're going to read it, then we should read the objection.
Okay, read it.
Yes. The objection said vague as to time.
Yes.
Yes. And then how did you respond?
I said I can still watch my children ski and be skied directly into my back by someone,
And then you continued.
which is what happened.
Exactly. So you were watching your children when you alleged that you were skied directly into your back by someone.
My daughter was down the hill. My son was to my left, so I was skiing. My eyes were not fixated only on my son when Mr. Sanderson skied directly into my back.
Okay. And so when Miss Oakes, who's going to testify next week, said that your son Moses was saying, "Mommy, Mommy, watch me," that's who you were watching, right?
That's vague as to time, Your Honor.
Right, right, yes.
Just overruled. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Sorry, what was the question?
When Moses is saying, "Mommy, Mommy, watch me," that's who you were looking at when you were when you were skied directly into your back.
I do not recall Moses saying, "Mommy, Mommy, watch me" on the ski slope.
Okay. Well, Apple was down further, right?
Yes.
She didn't see it.
No.
Okay. And Moses, he was the one, at least according to Carrie Oakes, was calling your attention.
Okay.
Okay. 9-year-old, did he want more attention to have somebody watch them rather than 11?
Not necessarily.
Just sweet.
Moses
Mama.
was skiing above you, though, right? He hadn't gotten down as far as you.
He was on my left.
And up.
I was on the right. He was, oops, sorry. He was on the left side of the slope. Yes, I believe kind of a little bit uphill.
Okay. And that's where your attention was when you were hit, allegedly, in the back.
I don't know where my attention was the moment I was struck in the back. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, that's what you said, which is what happened.
He struck me in the back. Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Okay. I know, but you said, I can still watch my children ski.
Yes,
and he's
meaning
directly into my back by someone, which is what happened.
Yes, exactly.
What's the pending question? It sounds like they're saying the exact same thing.
They are.
The question is, you were watching your children ski when you were struck in the back.
So that's asked and answered, Your Honor.
Overruled?
I was skiing and looking downhill as you do, and I was skied directly into by Mr. Sanderson.
And your 9-year-old son, you will admit, was on your left and up a bit.
To my recollection.
Okay. All right. And Carrie Oakes is the one who says that he was the one calling your attention.
You'll have to
Gosh.
speak to Miss Oakes.
We will. All right. So, I want to go through the accident a bit.
Damn, yeah.
Because we did this over video, we didn't really get to act it out a whole heck of a lot. But I want to just kind of talk with you first and see if this is your recollection of how it happened.
Your Honor, I think this is improper. She should just ask her what happened. Then if she testified contrary to that earlier, then she cross-examines her with the deposition.
And what's the objection?
Improper use of deposition testimony.
It's a party. Under Rule 32, it can be used for any purpose. You may proceed.
Thank you. You were going along relatively slowly. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to kind of ask you a couple
Sure.
questions. So let me know if anything I say is not accurate.
Okay.
So you're going down relatively slowly when all of a sudden you heard a strange rustling noise behind you.
Yes.
Okay. And you felt like a rush of air in a strange way.
Yes.
Okay. And 2 skis slid in between my skis.
That's correct.
And all of a sudden, there was a body from the whole front of a body pressing into my back.
That's right.
Okay. Like, we'll talk about this in a minute. And there was a man behind me pressing into me. How did you know it was a man?
Because he was making some strange noises that sounded male. And he was large. So I assumed it was a male.
Okay, he was large.
I felt all my back
Okay.
pressing.
Okay. All right, there was a man pressing behind me, pressing into me. I was extremely upset.
Well, I was confused at first, and I didn't know exactly what was happening. It's a very strange thing to happen on a ski slope.
I agree.
I froze, and I would say I got very upset a couple seconds later.
Okay. Let me just continue on here. I just wanted to make sure that I got this all right. I didn't know if it was an intentional assault of a sexual nature.
Right.
Okay. Was he grinding and thrusting or something, or just the noises? What made you think it was a sexual assault?
So that was a quick thought that went through my head when I was trying to reconcile what was happening. I was skiing, and 2 skis came between my skis, forcing my legs apart, and then there was a body pressing against me, and there was a very strange grunting noise. So my brain was trying to make sense of what was happening. I thought, is this a practical joke? Is someone like doing something perverted? This is really, really strange.
I think
My
he
mind was
just
going
ran
very, very
into
quickly,
you.
and I was trying to ascertain what was happening.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to react to that. If somebody ran behind you, bumped into you behind you like that, coming down the hill on ice, on the snow, because it was at a ski place. He's an older man, so he probably like, oh my God, it hurt. He's older. I don't think he was intentionally to hit her back like that, and he has to get off of her, but I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think.
I think you said, I didn't know if it was an accident, but he was groaning and grunting in a very disturbing way.
Yes, there was a sort of groan coming out of his mouth.
Okay. Then you said, I froze.
Yes.
We kept skiing.
Right.
We went to the right.
Yes.
We came crashing down together.
That's right.
Stop juicing. Green juice.
This man was behind me on the mountain. My knee and our skis were still sort of tangled up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes, sorry.
Our bodies were almost spooning, and I moved away quickly.
Yes.
And my knee splayed open, and I was completely in shock.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stop there.
Okay.
And if the court and Ms. Paltrow, if you don't mind, since, again, when we did this over Zoom, would you mind stepping down and us kind of acting this out a little bit so I can get a good feel?
Let's see. Can we approach, Your Honor?
Sure.
Well, y'all, now she want her to demonstrate what's going on, but she got to realize that lady got on a dress. She can't demonstrate something in a dress. Come on now. Yeah, we watching the Gwyneth Paltrow ski crash. She crashed. Mr. Sanderson bumped into her coming down the hill, and she felt some kind of way. But if he's an older man, so he didn't have no control trying to stop. But I don't think she should demonstrate with no dress on. Because she has on, I think she has on a dress. So they negotiating something about this. I don't know. Oh, Lord, I skip it, y'all.
You agree that Mr. Sanderson fell to the ground and then you fell on top.
I don't know if it was simultaneous. I don't remember.
But you didn't fall and hit the ground, correct?
I don't remember exactly where I hit,
Okay.
but I fell over
All right. And
with Mr. Sanderson.
right. And Mr. Sanderson fell and hit the ground.
Yes.
All right. So going back here, you guys are on the ground. Now you realize, right? You're not saying to the jury that this was in any way, shape, or form a sexual assault.
I am not saying that.
Okay.
I'm just
Oh,
saying
okay.
what went through my mind for a split second when it was happening.
All right,
Okay.
great. So you're down on the ground, and then you started yelling at him.
I don't remember if I started yelling at him while I was on the ground. I remember pushing away because I was very upset and it was still very strange to me what had happened.
Look at him.
And I pushed down the hill and I turned around and I said, and I yelled at him.
I would have yelled.
Did you scream before you went down?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's not important.
So if others heard a scream, you wouldn't. That wasn't you.
I'm
No,
gonna
I
skip it,
froze.
girl.
He has all of the articles, etc., and the video when Miss Paltrow went on Jimmy Kimmel saying, "Yes, I am accident prone. I am always running into things," which is I'm a moron, which is very relevant to this case.
How?
How?
Yeah.
Because we believe that that's exactly what she did. Is she ran into things like she always does. She was asked if she ever said that. She said no. And we
Oh,
have
look, y'all, I'm
impeachment
gonna
evidence
push it
that
back.
she has.
I'm gonna push it back a little bit. I got to hear this part. I'm sorry. Seemed like I
Your
missed her.
psychology is not necessarily thinking about the person who perpetrated it.
So the answer to my question is no, you did not
I
inquire.
did not.
Okay. Did you ever ask, hey, how was that guy that ran into the back of me? Is he okay? Did you ever ask anybody from Deer Valley about that?
I did not, because at the time I did not know that he had sustained injuries like that. I thought it was very minor on the day.
And you didn't stick around long enough to find that out.
I stuck around long enough for him to say he was okay, to stand up, that he told Mr. Christensen he was okay.
And when he was helped up by Mr. Christensen, again, you weren't right there. You were down a ways.
Just a few feet down, yes.
Could you tell if Mr. Sanderson was still dazed or unsteady on his feet?
I could not. I don't know.
Okay. And again, you didn't leave your name, address, contact information. You
You
didn't fill
already
out any
asked her
paperwork
that.
in connection with this accident.
Eric did on my behalf.
Right, but I'm asking about you personally.
Wait a minute.
Sustained.
Okay. After the incident, you skied down, went to lunch, and then my understanding is you got a massage.
So after the accident, I met all the rest of the kids at lunch. We all gathered, we had lunch, and I still felt very shaky, and my knee was bothering me, my back was bothering me, so I decided to go in early and get a massage.
Okay. You never did seek any kind of medical treatment for your knee or your back?
No.
Okay. Now, at the scene, before you skied down and had lunch, there was no indication that Mr. Sanderson knew who you were. Is that fair?
I don't know.
Okay. I think, well, you testified there was no indication of that. You were wearing goggles, a helmet.
Yes,
Okay, kind of looked like everybody else on the slope.
that's always my intention.
Okay. Probably had a better ski outfit, though, I bet.
I still have the same one. I just have one.
Okay. So nobody on the hill would be able to recognize you. Is that fair? Maybe your family and friends.
I have been recognized on ski slopes before.
Okay. Do you recall testifying in your deposition that no one on the hill would be able to recognize me?
That would be the idea.
Okay.
But sometimes paparazzi has a way of figuring it out, is my point.
Okay. So your testimony to the jury here today is Mr. Sanderson skied into you.
That is correct.
All right. Craig Ramone, you said he's not telling the truth, or you don't believe him.
I'm telling you that what it said is not what happened.
Okay. So in other words, if somebody says something that's not what happened, they're lying.
He is not telling the truth.
All right.
I don't know if he knows he's lying, but I'm telling you what he said is unfortunately not the truth.
All right. Well, in addition to Mr. Ramone, you've sat here when some of the experts have testified. We had Dr. Gibby, and we heard Dr. Boehm. I always want to say Baum or Boehm. Boehm. You've heard their testimony that the only way that Mr. Sanderson's ribs could have been broken where they were is that if he was hit from behind. You disagree with that?
I think it misstates their testimony.
I
She's
guess that's
asking
what
her
the
to.
objection is, but it's overruled. The jury will have to remember what the testimony was.
It seemed like she asking her the same questions over and over again. She just wording it different. Jeez, let's get to the real point.
That means you get to answer. You disagree with their testimony?
Absolutely, I disagree.
Okay. What medical training do you have to disagree with that?
I'm just telling you the truth of what actually happened.
Okay.
That's all I can do.
All right. And you don't have any other witnesses who sought to support your position, correct?
Well, I have a lot of witnesses who saw the split seconds afterwards and the positions of the bodies on the mountain, which would indicate very clearly who hit who.
Okay. Do you have any witnesses who saw it?
Who saw the collision?
The collision?
No.
All right.
Oh,
And you're not trained in accident reconstruction?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Neither am I. All right. So, Miss Paltrow, isn't it true that this was an accident that you caused?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Would you agree that you are accident prone?
So, Your Honor, can we have a bench meeting on this?
Why don't we take our recess now?
she said she accident pro. Wow. They took a
have
long.
peace of mind in knowing that
I think the jury's coming. Okay, you can bring them in.
She just ran over there.
Yes, please. I think the jury's coming. Okay, you can bring them in. Ms. Van Orman, you may proceed.
Yes, thank you. So, Miss Paltrow, I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about this was where my whole...
Objection was sustained.
I'm sure it was on the record whenever it was there. I don't recall.
Okay, I think we just said now would be a good time for a bench meeting, but
The objection was sustained.
Okay, I'm moving on, shifting gears. So, Ms. Paltrow, the reason I got involved in this case in the first place was your counterclaim. So I want to talk with you about the counterclaim. Is it true that you feel it's unfair that Mr. Sanderson has brought this case against you?
I do.
And he has deterred you from enjoying the rest of what was a very expensive vacation?
Well, I lost half a day of skiing.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And I think that's what your counsel has argued as well, that you had a full day pass, but you can only ski a half a day.
Yes, I went back down after lunch.
Okay. Right. And that's when you had lunch and you got a massage.
Yes.
Okay. Didn't get your knee checked out, didn't have any kind of medical attention.
No, it didn't feel acute in any way. It felt just like I had overstretched my knee and I had sustained a blow.
But you didn't go to the doctor. Anytime you in a situation like this, you need to go to the doctor, whether you want to or not.
but it didn't feel like it needed medical attention.
Okay. And you're bringing this claim for $1.
I am.
Okay. In fact, your counsel, Steve, do you still have that dollar bill? That I'm not going to even respond to that. I don't need it. Yeah, I don't need it. You saw Mr. Owens wave that $1 around, right?
I did.
Okay. $1 in symbolic damages. Is that accurate?
It's an actual dollar that I'm asking for.
Okay, but you also testified when I asked you questions in your deposition that $1 is symbolic. Do you remember me asking you
It's
about that?
symbolic because the damages would actually be more.
Okay. But remember me asking you, is it symbolic? And you said, yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay. And I asked you as well, you learned about that through Taylor Swift because she asked for $1 in symbolic damages, right?
And I think I said at that point I had not been familiar with it, but I since am.
Now you are. But at the time, a couple of years ago in 2020, you didn't know anything about Taylor Swift's $1 symbolic damage lawsuit?
Just relevance, Your Honor.
Counsel?
Because I asked her about it at the time, and she denied it. Correct.
Can you answer the question?
I was not aware at the time.
Are you good friends with Taylor Swift?
No,
Overruled?
You're not good friends with Taylor Swift.
I would not say we're good friends. We are friendly. I've taken my kids to one of her concerts before, but we don't talk very often.
You've never given Miss Swift personal, intimate gifts for Christmas.
Your Honor. Relevance, or I would
Sustained as
like
to
a
relevance.
bench trial.
Well, she's just said that she wasn't friends with her, so I'm inquiring on that.
Ask her about Oprah. I mean,
Mr. Owens? Sustained. Please move on.
You're telling the jury that you are here asking for $1.
I am.
That's not totally accurate, though, is it?
What do you mean?
Well, the jury isn't going to be deciding this, but you're also asking the judge to award you attorney's fees for over hundreds of thousands of dollars. Isn't that true?
Your Honor. The judge has made a ruling on this issue that it will be a separate event.
Sustained as to relevance.
The relevance is, Your Honor, that they have...
If you want to argue the relevance, we should do it up here.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
And
Jesus Christ could help.
you're intending to be here every minute next week.
I am.
Have you enjoyed yourself?
I've learned a lot.
Who hit who?
Mr. Sanderson hit me.
The comment was that Mr. Sanderson doesn't take criticism well. Do you take criticism well?
In my profession, after all these years of being in the public eye, I think I take it relatively well.
Mm-hmm.
You keep sending me notes. I didn't cause these damages.
That's
Right?
absolutely correct.
Do you feel some empathy for Mr. Sanderson and his declining brain?
You know, I really do. I feel very sorry for him. It seems like he's had a very difficult life. But I did not cause the accident, so I cannot be at fault for anything
Exactly.
that subsequently happened to him.
His
Yes.
daughter got up and said he was cursing out her daughter. Did you hear that?
I did hear that.
Did you cause that?
I did not cause that.
Did you give him brain injuries that were evident on his MRI in 2006?
I did not.
All right, let's start on a happier note. Let's bring up that picture of you and Moses. While that's coming up, did you personally take a selfie with you and your son?
I take selfies with my kids all the time, yes.
All right, and we're going to pull it up in just a minute. You know what picture I'm talking about. Did you
Yes.
personally take that photo
I did.
on the day of issue?
I did before the accident.
Okay. And it's hard to tell who the 9-year-old is there.
Thank you.
Are you on the right or left?
I'm on the right.
And Moses is on the left.
Yes.
And are you going up the ski lift?
It looks like it.
This is Defense 86. If we haven't moved for its admission, I would like to do so.
Defendants 86 is received.
And I notice you have a helmet on there
I do.
and goggles.
Yes.
Did you always that day while on the slopes?
Yes.
Mr. Ramon testified, for instance, you were not wearing a helmet or goggles or any face covering whatsoever. True or it's not true?
I think you can see the evidence that I was wearing a helmet and goggles.
So answer my question, please.
Sorry.
Is it true or not true that at the time of the collision and in the aftermath, you were or were not wearing a helmet
I was.
and goggles?
Correct.
Did you ski at all that day without a helmet?
No.
Is that for anonymity? I'm saying it wrong.
Anonymity?
I'm gonna stop it right here for a minute and share some my reaction to what's going on with Miss Paltrow. She the one she was hit from behind. She didn't know. Just imagine somebody slide behind you coming down the hill and you don't know somebody about to hit you. I mean, she the one should be more injured than the other person. I'm not saying that the other person shouldn't have any injuries, but it seemed like he putting the blame on her. Instead, I mean, the blame should be on him. It's an accident. Now he trying to get money off of something that he already going through.
Thanks for saying that. And also for safety or both or what?
It's for safety primarily, but yes, I like to, when I'm skiing, try to keep a low profile.
You were asked about, well, let me back up even further.
Okay.
You told me you learned to ski at Alta.
I did, actually.
Tell me a little about that.
My father was, he loved skiing, and he had learned later in life. And so he was determined for my brother and I to learn how to ski when we were young. And he used to do these really sweet one-on-one ski trips with us where he would take us to various destinations, and Alta was one of them.
And then he died young. True.
Unfortunately, ski instructor.
All right. So we went. We're skiing.
I was.
Was there anyone in front of you?
There was not.
There's an implication that somehow you're looking at Moses up the hill to the left while you're skiing downhill. Were you doing that?
I was not.
Carrie Oakes of Deer Valley does say something in her deposition about kids wanting you to see them or something. Were you in fact, did you all meet at the top of the hill?
I think we were 6 in our group plus our ski instructor, so we would always meet that day at the top of the chair and kind of plot out where everyone was going.
Great. Okay, the 6 people, let's just make sure we know who they are.
Myself, Brad, my stepdaughter Isabella, my daughter Apple, my son Moses, and my stepson Brody.
Okay. And then you had paid for each of the 4 kids to have their own individual instructors.
They were all very different levels, so Brad paid for his kids and I paid for mine.
All right. The $1 that I'll probably waive in closing, but not this minute. Were you planning to ski the whole day?
I was.
And did you send a little text after lunch?
Yes.
Can you bring this up? And I'm gonna. So good question. D110 is the text.
Any objection? Exhibit 110 for defendants is received.
These are kind of hard to see, and James is going to bring it up. D110. 83A is the better copy, I guess. What are you showing? So, Gwyneth, do you have a defense binder there?
I just have my deposition.
And so, for ours, I'm going to hand you this binder. Can we move to admit 83B?
No objection.
Defense Exhibit 83B is received.
It's a little hard to see.
Okay.
Sorry, y'all.
James,
Keep
can you
those
pull
up.
up the last sort of, yes. I think we need to go back just a little more to put a date on it. Do you recall I asked you, hey, did you text anyone that day? Do you remember this?
Yes.
And this is your own personal cell phone copy?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and there's a date. Sorry, it's a bad copy. February 24. Sorry. February 26, 2016. Is that in fact a true and correct copy of your phone screen?
Yes.
And who were you texting with? Do you recall?
Eric Christensen, the ski instructor.
All right. So we went down Bandana. So you'd already been down that very. Oh, my board. I'm gonna get my board in case this is better copy.
Recordings just got better.
All right. Okay, cool. Which one's you, on the right or left? Do you know? The green?
Eric is the green and I'm the white.
Okay, cool. We should take north side up, question mark. That's you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go back out. And in the afternoon, let's go with the... Okay, let's keep going down. Oh, let's go Ruby left. So you're coordinating a little bit
Yes.
on the mountain in real time, correct?
Yes.
And then, sorry, James, I'm testing you out here. Moses wants to know if you are still skiing and where. All right, so it's 2:29, and this is, no one's thinking lawsuit yet, right?
No.
And that's you on the left with the G, and it
Yes.
says, can you read it?
It says, I came in. That guy sort of hurt me. I'm going to get a massage at 3. Gigi is here if he wants to come.
Okay. Gigi was helping with the kids.
Yeah, Gigi was our babysitter.
All right. Did you go in earlier because you had been hit?
I did, yes.
Did you personally pay for a ski pass at Deer Valley?
I did.
And was it a full day pass?
It was.
And was it, is this monetary difference between the full day pass and the half day
That's
pass more than
Sanderson,
$1?
y'all.
It is.
He wants some money.
Miss Van Orman kept saying when you were allegedly hit. Were you hit?
I was hit.
The definition of an assault is an unauthorized touching.
Yes.
Did Mr. Sanderson touch you in an unauthorized manner?
You may.
All right, y'all. There they go, negotiating again. I'm gonna skip it a little bit, man, just a little bit.
In between my skis with his skis.
She already
and then
said
like
that.
1,000, 1,000-ish, and then a fall.
The defense has prepared an animation exhibit that will be shown next week. Have you personally reviewed that?
I have.
And does it accurately state what you believe has
That's
occurred that
Mr.
day?
Terry
Yes.
Sanders.
Now, it's not precise in the sense that it's not actual video of the event, right? But it does a good job of sort of setting the stage,
Yes.
animating what occurred.
there needs to be some clarification as to what part of the animation he's referring to.
Agreed. It's sustained as to vagueness and therefore relevance.
Sure. Have you seen the animations?
I have.
All right. Not every witness saw everything. Fair to say?
Fair.
All right. For instance, you didn't see anyone in front of you, but you felt someone behind you.
Yes.
So you wouldn't possibly know, for instance, where Sanderson was coming from.
No, he was behind me.
I'm trying to satisfy the prior.
Sustained?
You got a bad attitude.
Does the animation fairly represent your story?
It does.
One thing Craig Ramon said is that Mr. Sanderson was out cold for 2 or more minutes. Do you recall that testimony?
To be honest, he's said so many different minutes, so many times, I don't recall exactly.
All right. Assume that he said minutes. That
Okay.
he was literally unconscious for minutes. Did you observe that?
That Mr. Sanderson was unconscious for minutes?
Yes.
No, he was not.
Or unconscious at all?
I don't know. Based on what I've heard from the doctors, you can be unconscious for a split second, so it's possible he was for a split second.
So, where were you as you go down the hill?
On the right side of Bandana.
Was there a reason you were there?
I just tend to try to, especially on a crowded run, I was trying to ski, a little bit to the side and make turns.
Were you being an aggressive skier? Like, I'm gonna go as
No.
fast as I can to get
This
down.
is a green run with lots of families. Absolutely not.
It's a green run, but it's not a bunny run, right? It actually, it's one of your favorite runs?
It was one of my kids' favorite ones. They were learning.
Gotcha. Because it comes down quite a ways.
It does. It's a nice long run.
And was this toward the top, do you recall?
It was toward the top, but not at the top, if that makes sense.
Would you have observed, first of all, did you personally look and see Mr. Sanderson
On the ground?
after the event?
Yes.
And was he unconscious when you saw him?
No.
Then they're saying Eric Christensen, the Deer Valley person, came over. Did you observe that?
I did.
And they're saying that he yelled
He asking her the same questions.
aggressively toward Mr. Sanderson. Did you observe that?
He did not yell at Mr. Sanderson, no.
He's going to testify on Monday. From your interactions with Mr. Christensen, is that consistent with his personality to be aggressive like that?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for character evidence.
Okay, y'all, I'm gonna stop it right there because basically he asking her the same question that the prosecutor asked her. So I'm gonna end it right there. Now what we just watched in was Miss Gwen. She's an actress, y'all. She's took the stand and to tell her part, side of the story and at the trial. Y'all like, share, and subscribe. And tell me what you think. And this is Mr. Terry. That's Sanderson, the guy who supposed to be hurt and bumped into her coming down the hill. All right, y'all. Y'all like, share, and subscribe. I'm out.